Hey, let me ask you a question. Is it normal for old people to get up early in the morning? I was up at 4:30 this morning and I felt just fine. I felt like I got enough rest. That would be interesting to come out here and see the sunrise, share it with y'all here in paradise, here in Bye Bye City Leyte in the Philippines. I also started to think that putting up with barking dogs and crowing roosters is way better than any 8 hour shift at the office. Man, Minnie has already brought me my cup of coffee. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done this before. I think this is the first time I've ever done this. What are you guys doing up? Oh, Mike is here. Prissy Manzanero is here. How are you? Robert is here. Good morning from Dumaguete. Hey, so I want to show you around. Let me. I don't know how to flip this camera around. I just decided to do this to wing it, you know. So let me flip this camera around, show you what's going on. I'm on the porch of the house right now. There you go. You can see the trees. You can see the sun coming up. The lights are still on from last night. They haven't gone off yet. I imagine the mom-in-law or Minnie will be out in a second to turn off the lights. But yeah, that's what happens here in the province every day. The crows are crowing and the dogs are barking. I don't hear any dogs yet. I don't know if you could hear the crows, but yeah, I decided to come out here, have a cup of coffee, have my oatmeal. Yeah, yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that because father-in-law Frank, he got up early this morning. Mom-in-law got up early this morning. The whole house was already up by 4:30, 5 o'clock. And you know, sometimes I come out of my room and sometimes I stay in there and start editing videos. But so everybody kind of like steps very, very softly. Yeah. They step very, very softly as to not wake up the whole house. But everybody was up this morning. So yeah, you're looking at the same shirt I was wearing yesterday, the one that I went to bed in. Yeah, I just put up a video just a few moments ago of a routine day for Minnie and I, you know, where we just hang out, do routine stuff, you know. And I started to think about how unroutine it actually is, you know, because you're doing it in the Philippines. When you're doing anything in the Philippines, it's uh it's not routine. Yeah, that's chicken adobo, Robert. That's funny. Oh, listen, KK Travels, thanks for being here. Hey, how about this? How about this? Go look at my short video that I just posted. It's Lumpia during a thunderstorm. I mean, that was pretty interesting, you know, because you could hear the thunder in the background as the lumpia is being fried up and things like that. You know, eating lumpia and having a little bit of steamed rice in the middle of a thunderstorm, it's a little bit unusual if you're in the States, right? Or if you're other places. But it's not so it's very common here that you don't even think about the thunderstorm as it's going on in the background. You know, it could be raining like crazy. I mean, they flash floods all around you, and here you are sitting at the kitchen table, you know, eating lumpia in the Philippines. Yes, indeed. So that's a little bit interesting, you know. And I thought, man, you know, I need to start sharing some of this stuff, more of those kind of thoughts with the folks. Yeah, the front door's open. We're probably going to get mosquito bitten today. Uh, so anyway, that's what the world looks like around me here. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, Robert, when we were building this house, but there's all that gravel, truckloads and truckloads of gravel in here. Yeah. And underneath all that gravel is a cistern that collects water, underneath there, right there. Yeah. So underneath there is that big swimming pool. The neighbors kept coming by. Larice is here. Hi, Larice. The neighbors kept coming by when we were building this, and they said, "Hey, you guys building a swimming pool in the front yard?" I thought that was the funniest thing. But it was really, really interesting, because would people build a swimming pool in the front yard, blocking their entry into their home? And I started thinking to myself, all things are possible in the Philippines. There's the gate. We lock that up at night. Yeah. And man, Minnie, she wants me to. Oh, there's a mom-in-law going out for her morning walk. Let's see if she comes into view here in a moment. She's hiding from me right now in the dirty kitchen. Let me swing around and show you this. I think most of you know what this looks like. You might get a better idea. Let me swing this camera around. I don't know how to do the reverse on the camera. I don't know how to do it without I don't first time doing this, so I'm not sure, but oh, the light, I could see lighting reflecting and getting in the way, but that's the dirty kitchen. So that's a completely separate building. And so when the city comes over, the city was over here, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, and they showed up kind of unannounced. The city code enforcement people, they actually have code enforcement. They have city planning, code enforcement. They got the whole thing going on here, just like back home. So they showed up here and uh, oh yeah, it was raining, Robert. Yeah, it definitely was raining during the building of this place. It's amazing how Filipinos, they just keep going like nothing. I'll take a break from the rain for a few moments and then they just continue on after a while. But anyway, they come over and here's their reaction when they saw that building. They saw that outbuilding and then they kind of just like, where did this come from? We don't have this on the tax rolls. And they're looking at each other. I said, oh, that's the Baha'i Kubo that was there when we were building the house. That's where everybody was hanging out. I said, do you guys remember that? Do you remember that? But they weren't working. I reminded them that this house was built during the middle of the global calamity. So I explained to them there was a Baha'i Kubo there, and that's where the original power supply came in. And then later on, after the house was built, then we just hooked it up to the house. But I go, if you guys look in your paperwork, you're gonna see the permit for the electricity that went into that what is now the outbuilding was a Baha'i Kubo, right? So so I said, I think you guys permitted that, I think. Baha'i Kubo, they're looking at the paperwork, they can't find it. They're talking amongst themselves. There were like three or four of them. They were doing surveys. Uh, I think you guys know this story if you watch the videos, right? We were only off by this much. Mylene here. We were only off by this much on the property line. We had to buy, I don't know, 3 square meters from our neighbor that's being processed right now. Our neighbor's merchant marine, very nice guy, and he agreed right away. He said, "Man, that's happened to me 2 or 3 times, where you pay a private surveyor to come out to survey the land, and they find out that it was only off by this much. Oops." And so we have part of the building that goes over the property line, and that's what the city was interested in. They were surveying not only for tax purposes and to make sure permits and everything were in order, but maybe there was a complaint. I really don't know what they were doing out here, but they spent a good part of 15 minutes talking about that. Oh my God, it's got an outdoor kitchen, it's got a CR over here, and all the luxuries of life. And then finally, one dude just shakes his head and says, "Hey, can you come over to my place and build me one of these?" And then they just shook their heads and said, "Forget about it." And that's why I love the Philippines. They're just shaking their head and they're going, forget about it. It's too much paperwork to have to deal with. Uh, he, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They were scratching their head. Oh yeah, I remember what he's telling us. Yeah, there was something here. There. I said it's the remodeled by Bahay Kubo. That's what I kept saying. It's remodeled. Someone had already taught me in case it ever happens which words to say. And then they just put a check mark on there and they went on to survey. And that's when they discovered that we were over our property line because in the city, when you gotta to pay taxes, right? They got to get an accurate they got to get an accurate property boundary line so they could send you a tax bill. That's what they were really doing here, I think. And that's when they came up and told us, we hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your surveyors, they were off by just a little bit. And so your building goes over the property line of your neighbor. In order for this deed to be properly conveyed and for the tax rolls to be straight, you have to go over and you have to make a deal with your neighbor to buy about 3 square meters of land. And so, oh my gosh, I thought, oh, here we go, here we go. It's more fun in the Philippines. So, thankfully, um, we were able to make a deal with the neighbor really quickly, and we had that reconveyance of that part of the land so that we didn't have to. I was really worried about it. I got sewer runoff lines. What do they call those? I don't even know what they call them, but they've been running through other people's property and stuff like that. And I was rerouting those lines because, oh, there's Jerry. Hi, Jerry. I was rerouting those lines because I just didn't feel comfortable dumping those leach line. I guess that's what it is a leach line on somebody else's property, which is very, very common here in the Philippines. So what I did was I tapped into those lines that were running all over the place and I rerouted them back onto our property. And so hence that's what part of the cistern here is you have over here a septic system, right? Underneath this. We have 2 septic tanks on this property. One is behind the house over here. I I'll go into that one day. Maybe I've done it already, but and then the other one is over here uh, that the dirty kitchen is built on top of because there's no space in here. Obviously, you have to put it somewhere. I wanted a backup. It's always good to have a backup because I'd watched the construction of the one behind the house, right? I wasn't thrilled with it, even though I come to find out after reviewing the videos, they did a really good job. And so I actually wasn't comfortable, and I said, let's build. Let me supervise the building of another one. And then we ran the leach line down here, which is again, it's very, very common, and it's a very common practice. And we dug down, and that's when we discovered that we had an underground aquifer, and so everybody was running their leach lines down into the river, the freshwater river that's down below. But this river or underground aquifer it's a straight shot to the ocean, and so I don't know how the whole thing works. It was odd to me. It's odd to me that they do things that way, but that's the way they do it. Over there was agricultural land. As a matter of fact, all of this was agricultural land. and they were growing heck everything over there. They were growing rice and mango, all kinds of things. Things are coconut, things are still growing over there. But if you cross over this pathway, this road, people have told me that they see monitor lizards coming out of there. There's a drop just a few feet on the other side of that road where you can see that used to be irrigation down there. So some kind of irrigation. They were taking advantage of rerouting the river water from that, or made some kind of a irrigation system, knowing that water was underneath the ground, and then they abandoned it. I don't really know why. I don't know why all this land is not occupied, or this reclaimed land. There are not houses on it by now. I really don't know what happened. Every now and again, I see the owner of the land, or not the owner, but he'll send workers over, and they come and they thin all this overgrowth out. You know, they're thinning it out, and then I go over and I try to ask questions, but I don't know nothing. I'm just a worker. And then over here is an empty lot. I met the owner of this lot, who's I can't remember where he's from. I think he's from Germany, and they're going to be building a house there. I think he was a little bit surprised at how small the lot was. Our lot is, I think, 200 square meters. That lot over there is 100 square meters. And then, so he would have to build up. If he wanted the same size house, he's going to have to build up 2 or 3 stories. Then you have one next to it that I showed you in a video, where they're going to start building right away. They say within a month or two, as soon as they get the permits approved, and they're gonna put up. How you doing? Good morning, my own buntag. They're going to be putting up over there a 2 or 3 story house. We'll see what ends up happening. They also have about a 100 square meter lot. So empty lot next to us on the other side over here. We use that with permission. We grow things on it. It's got 1 or 2 coconut trees. We actually had to take a couple of those trees. That we got permission to take a couple of them out during the last typhoon season, because I was really worried that these things were going to come crashing down the house. Thankfully, and because the owner knows that sooner or later he's going to have to clear that land to build a house, they gave permission, and we sent a crew over there and took them down. But anyway, that's about all I have for today. I just wanted to come on and try it to see if anybody would show up. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. And we'll see you on the next live, and maybe perhaps even the next impromptu live. So that's what life in paradise is like. Better than any 8-hour shift at the office. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.